Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Today we have a quick video on how to lap whetstone, how to lap your stones. And I'm gonna start first with why do we want to lap our stones. For straight racers is pretty important. It's not super important that it's like 100% flat, but you want to be as close as possible to flat. With knives, if you see, like for tools and stuff like that, it is a lot different techniques, and you can work around if you sharpening chisels and stuff like that, completely different. But with razors, the way that we hone, and I explain myself, you're using the spine of the razor as the guide. So if your stone is not flat, you're gonna have some troubles. And I'm gonna show you something else while we're doing the lapping. So I do lapping two ways. I do lapping with a diamond plate. This one is a DMT 325. It's an 8-inch long. It's perfect for most applications. And I do it with stick powder. Stick powder, you can find this online. It comes in a little bag and it comes in different grids. And then you can put in on, some people put in the back plate of a metal plate. Some people I use a granite tile. I put it there. I do a lot of the hard work on that because you can get very low grits, fairly inexpensive. But I prefer the DMT 325. And that's what I'm going to show you how I do it. And there's several videos out there showing you how to do this, but so I'm going to show you a different little stone. So here I have a cuticle I recently got. I haven't featured this one in any videos yet. So first thing you need is your lapping plate. I recommend Atomas and DMTs. They're the only ones I actually use. Don't go cheap with your plate. I have been using this plate for 4 years maybe, and I love it. I use that quite a bit to do geometry fixes before I had my chapped and lower grit stones, and I used it a lot. So lapping and cleaning for me is completely different. And here I changed the subject a little bit, not change it, but I threw something in there. So cleaning for me is after I finish sharpening a knife or honing a straight razor, I take this plate and run it over 5, 8 figure eights, however you want, nice and soft, to clean the stone off, to not leave any metal residue or any slurry off. A lot of people leave the slurry accumulated there and they reuse it. I don't. It's your personal preference. I don't see anything wrong with it. I just don't like it. So that's for me cleaning. Not only it cleans it off, but it keeps you away from doing grit lapping, which is what I'm about to do. And grit lapping, they call it grit lapping because you make a grit on your stone with a pencil, right? And I see people actually using like a ruler and making a nice grit. Honestly, you don't even have to make a grit. You can just make a bunch of lines. As long as you have lines or circles or whatever, such as that, that's all you want. And I'm gonna show you why. So then you get her wet. That's how it will look. Make sure your plate is wet. You want to do this in a source of water. If you're using this technique, I use the kitchen sink. If you do, make sure you clean it. It makes a mess, and when it dries off, the sink will look like crap and your wife will kill you, or your husband. The other thing that you need is when you're lapping stones and they're brand new, especially if you're lapping hard stones like Arkansas or Sulu Grays, you need your favorite drink because you're gonna be lapping for a while. This I'm not gonna lap all the way. I don't know how flat it is. I haven't even lapped it yet. But some stones you're gonna be spending some time, especially if they're some evil eBay special. They're not gonna come flat. So for those that are wondering what I'm drinking right now, I'm doing some Japanese whiskey, Suntory whiskey, Toki. So let's keep going. All right, so you make sure they have some water going on. And I like to get a water stream that is not dripping, because if it drips, then it will make a splash, and then that's not good. Now, very important of what I was doing there, and I stopped right away so you can see something. Super important is that you don't want to press down hard. You want to let the stone do its work. It's like using a saw. If you press down, it's not gonna go right. You have to let it cut. So I want to show you the progress so far. So you see how I have no lines. Use this. I have no lines in this portion. And this portion here has lines, which means this portion is lower than this portion, right? So in this stone is not too bad, but if you have a big stone and you have pockets like that, and you're doing a straight razor, you're gonna have portions of your razor that are not touching, potentially not touching the stone, and that is not good. So you're gonna have an uneven edge. If it is with your 1K, the bevel set is gonna take forever, or it's not gonna be right. It's not gonna look good. It's just not good, right? So let's keep going a little bit. This might not be as bad. So I'm just, look, I can do it with 2 fingers. Now, if I have a bigger stone, such as this stone, this is my 4K Hayabusa. Is it Hayabusa? Yeah. So this is an Aniwa Hayabusa. So if I'm doing this one, I usually don't go on top of the plate. What I do is I put the stone on the holder, and then I use the plate to go over. Just easier for me. The plates are heavy, and that you just have to guide it. It will cut, and it will cut well. Now another good thing, another good point to bring up is that these plates, they wear out. They're diamond plates, but they do wear out. I don't think they wear out to the point that they're null, that they don't work. I think they still work. It's just the aggressiveness is not there anymore. If you buy a new plate like this, I recommend you run a piece of metal on it to make sure that there's not any diamonds sticking up or anything like that. You just, I did one of the gold dollars. I just went at it, for a long, for a couple minutes, and it takes the aggressiveness off of it. Or Lappin, Arkansas stone, especially a translucent, then it will definitely be broken in. So let's keep going a little bit more. I don't want to take too much of your time. Again, you don't want to bear down on it. If you do for an instance, just make sure that you let go, and the remainder you do it without pressure, or as little pressure as possible, because you're gonna leave deeper marks, and you don't want that, right? Now we see some progress. Only this portion over here is not is lower, and if you see, I keep rotating it. So I go like that, I move it sideways, I do circles, I rotate it just to keep it more fun, right? And not get too bored. You don't want to put too much pressure, uneven pressure, because then you're gonna wear this section faster than that one. And yeah, so let's keep going a little bit more. Let's get some water in there. The water is gonna help get the slurry away from it. On these natural ones, sometimes I just leave it. You don't want to dry, and you don't want to do this and leave, because sometimes they will create suction if it's a natural stone, and if this water dries off, it will create some crazy suction. And I had some stones get stuck pretty bad. And natural stones that are softer, like cuticles, or a soft Jaina or whatever, they might get ruined if you're like trying to get it off. That doesn't happen with brands like Atomas because how they have a pattern on the diamond plate, but it will happen with these. They create suction on the stone. All right, so I'm not gonna bore you too much with this. So basically this is all I do. So I will do that until all the lines are gone. And then once all the lines are gone, I do it again. The pattern, some lines, and then I lap it one more time, and then it's good to go. Good thing also about these places is if you've seen my videos, if you've been around, you've seen me use them to raise slurry. So that's another advantage of having a diamond plate around, is you can use them to raise slurry. Oh, very important. Didn't want to forget to mention what grit is appropriate for lapping stones. And this is rule of thumb. Usually people go from around 400, and I've seen all the way to 1200. It depends on what you're doing. A lot of people like to polish their stones with their plates or this stick powder, and there are some differences between different stones that you are prepping. For instance, on Arkansas, a lot of people like to burnish them. So it depends, but usually people will recommend from the 325 is the lowest I would go, and then I would recommend an Atoma 600, and some people go all the way to 1200 on their preparation. And last tip, when you are lapping your stone, make sure that you round off the edges of your stone. And then this one has already been done before it came here, but what I do is I lift it a little bit and I go like that. So why do you want to round it up? If you leave sharp edges like this as you're going, it makes it weaker, that whole edge, and you could lose a chunk. I seen it before happen. I do like this on the front, on the back, there, and then I round off the corners too. So I keep it nice and rounded. And this one is getting there. All right. So that's about it, guys. This is how I do it. I use a diamond plate to lap most of my stones. I have used stick powder. I have like 4 or 5 different grits around. If I get like a Zulu gray or an Arkansas, I definitely pulling out like a surgical black or a translucent. I am pulling out my stick powder, and then I might use this for later. The thing you have to be careful when using stick powder. You don't want that residue to stay in the stone, so you make sure that you wipe it good, because obviously now you're carrying that grit into that other stone. And that's about it in this video. Stay tuned for more how-to videos. I wanted to do this one before I got into how to hone a razor series. I've been telling you guys that one is coming, but I wanted to do this one before, so the preparation video is there, so I can reference to this one when that subject comes up, when we are setting the bevel and all that. I can always say check out my video on lapping the stones. So thank you for watching, guys. I'll see you soon.